man. Stephen A. will come after you. Who's more pathetic, Billy Bunt or Hitless Chivo?
Hitless afraid of the ball, Chivo.
Hitless afraid of the ball, Chivo, 59%.
I'm sorry, Billy Bunt. Another loss for you.
Felt terrible for both of them. Have we arrived at officially problematic with the Taco Tuesday videos?
And we have.
76% of the audience said yes.
We have LeBron. Somebody tell LeBron he's right on the line of officially problematic.
Does Arnold Schwarzenegger run away from photographs so people can't see how short he actually is? I think this is the big one today. 88% of the audience said yes. Are you afraid of the cockroaches that fly more than you are of intruders and much larger animals from the animal kingdom? I didn't read that very well, but 74% of the audience said yes. Who says heart better? John Gruden, Jim Calhoun. This is the biggest one. I'm sorry. 64% John Gruden.
Thank you for listening to the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You're welcome. Stupidity! Whatever superpower I would have, I would use it for good for me and evil upon everyone else. I'd like to be able to see the future. That way I have all the Super Bowl winners, World Series winners. I have all the odds. Like, I am betting things. I would put a future play in right now on who wins the 2032 Super Bowl. How about that?
So you want to be Biff?
I am Biff from Back in the Future. Download and subscribe to Stupidity right now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I promise that you'll never find another like me.
With the Capital One Saver Card, you earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment. That's 4% cash back on milkshakes with extra whipped cream. And 4% to get extra loud at the show. The Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% on dining and 4% on entertainment. What's in your wallet?
Hey guys, it's Taylor. You can pre-order my new album, Lover, at taylorswift.com.
Terms apply. Capital One Bank, USANA.
This is halftime.
There's no Northwest Arkansas Touchdown Club this year, but there's a Little Rock Touchdown Club. And
David Basil has put on quite a show here in the last number of years.
Monday, September 9th, Bobby Petrino is coming down to Little Rock.
Tommy Kraft, do you mind if we cancel the show that day and just air the entire talk of Bobby Petrino? To actually show up in Arkansas again. It's still fresh in people's minds. I mean, it's been, 8 years? But it's still fresh in everybody's mind. What happened?
100%. Herschel Walker, I told you from SEC Media Days, was fantastic. He was phenomenal. But I'm telling you, Bobby Petrino will be the most coveted ticket at the Little Rock Touchdown Club since I don't know when. It's going to be unbelievable how many people are going to be lining up to buy a table or buy a ticket to go see that event.
And anybody that rides a motorcycle to the event, you get extra credit for that.
Every weekday from 12 to 2, only on ESPN 95.3.
Lock in your price for 2 long years. Get a $200 Visa gift card and all your local channels back during the Tailgater Extravaganza at World of Wireless.
Yeah, call WOW now, 877-305-DISH. We're your local Dish Premier retailer with all your local channels, offering specials this weekend for a limited time only with the $200 Visa gift card, but more importantly, tons of sports channels, lots of sports channels, tons of football for less than $85 a month, with all your ESPNs and the SEC network.
And not to mention free local installation, whole home DVR, and the voice-activated remotes.
That's right. All that free this weekend. But let me ask you, why wouldn't you switch just for the 2-year price guarantee? 3 TVs in your house with your DVR, less than $85 a month. Do you really need to have missing the local channels to make you switch? 2-year price guarantee, less than $85 a month. That's the reason to switch right there.
Plus, you get your local channels back to boot. 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for World of Wireless, your local Dish dealer with all the local channels.
What's your more? Maybe it's more early morning duck calls at your own private duck club. Whatever you'd like more of, Mega Millions from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $50 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
Looking for a new home course this golf season? Eagle Crest Golf Course has memberships as low as $83 a month for Zoysia fairways and bent grass greens. Is your whole golf group ready to join Eagle Crest? 4 new members can join for just $1,150 each for the entire year. Individual annual memberships are just $1,250 a year. Call Eagle Crest Golf Course right now for all the details. 632-8857. That's 632-8857. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma.
ESPN Arkansas 95.3 and Hardee's present the 15th annual Thick Burger Eating Contest for a football trip of a lifetime. Qualify for the finals by completing the Thick Burger Challenge. Eat a Thick Burger in 90 seconds or less, and you are in. The next challenge remote will be held at Hardee's, 4123 Grand Avenue from noon to 2 p.m. on Thursday, August 8th. You must be at least 18 years old to take the challenge. The 15th annual Thick Burger Eating Contest for a football trip of a lifetime from Hardee's and ESPN 95.3.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Cloudy skies, a decent chance of showers and storms. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be right around the upper 80s north, mid 90s south. Chance of isolated showers or storms tonight, and overnight low will drop down in the low to mid 70s. And Friday, scattered showers, a few storms. Our high temperatures on Friday in the upper 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Harry Robinson Buick GMC, where you always get more for your trade. Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith. You can shop anytime at harryrobinson.com.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 23 days.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Guys do a good job, and I'll listen to you guys.
2 more quarters, and after that, most of you will never play this game again.
D-Mac, hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
You know, throughout the year, as I try to plan my life, pretty much around, for the most part, 3 things now, since we've been doing this talk show for the last 11 months. Tye Richardson, who's in the ESPN Arkansas studios. I'm Phil Elson here. The other 2 things that I've usually planned my life around have been Arkansas Razorback baseball and Arkansas Razorback women's basketball. And now kind of with the football team, too, because that's what we'll be talking about so much over the upcoming few months. And in order to truly plan your life when you are attached to these teams, literally to the hip, you need to know the schedules. You need to know when these teams, who these teams are playing, essentially where you got to be, when you got to be there, and who it is you're going to be talking about. But with basketball and baseball, you don't get those schedules until, I mean, right now I'm still waiting for the women's basketball schedule, and the season starts in 3 months. So I've gotten an idea what the non-conference schedule looks like. We don't know what the conference schedule looks like. That's essentially what they're waiting for, is for the SEC to hand down what the conference schedule looks like. Baseball's the same. You know, I think we have an idea of who Arkansas will play in division. Of course, they play everybody. Still don't know who they're going to play in the other division, or what the entire non-conference schedule looks like. And you've got plenty of time. The season doesn't start until February, but here it is now. It is. What was our countdown to kick off against Portland State? Is it 25 days from today, Tye?
23.
23. I don't know if I've gotten it right. And here it is. You got your countdown on a liner just before we even start our show.
That's okay.
Which I guess shows you how closely I'm listening. And we're already going to be talking about the 2020 schedule. I mean, football obviously is so different in the way things are scheduled, because now, I mean, Arkansas just scheduled a series with Utah that takes them to 2028. I mean, you have some schools that are scheduling games all the way into the 2030s. I don't even know what to call that decade yet. I guess you'd call it the 30s. That would make a lot of sense. And the schedule came out for not just Arkansas, but just about everybody, I think, across the college football landscape yesterday. Certainly the entire SEC dealt out their schedules, 1 through 14, and some pretty interesting things to get to there. So, Ty, I mean, I know, one of the things that you go into this season in Chad Morris's second year, you can look at the schedule that you're dealt and know that you are always going to be playing one of the toughest schedules in the country just because of who you play year after year in the SEC West. And you do get who knows what Kentucky will really be like with all their replacing, but they do come off 10 wins. So, I mean, your cross-divisional opponent is a fairly good one, but you don't really have much as far as the non-conference goes. And I mean, I think we've looked at that two ways. We've had a couple of people say, what does it mean? You beat an FCS team in Portland State. You beat a bad Colorado State team, a really bad San Jose State team, and Western Kentucky, which we're not even sure what they have. What does it mean for a team that is trying to look a lot better and rebuild athleticism and speed from essentially almost a zero from last year? Not just the number of wins in conference, but how you stacked up to everybody else that you're playing year after year. But you can also look at it and say, well, at least maybe this team will learn how to win some games, with the idea that you should win those 4 games and then see what happens everywhere else. Next year's going to be a little bit different, and really that's just because of one name on that schedule. Ty, there's a cachet that comes whenever the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are on your schedule. Remember we were talking a couple weeks ago about attendance and the quotes coming from Fitzgerald, the head coach at Northwestern, and he's complaining about why people won't show up for a game. Northwestern's always had trouble getting people into their stadium, much because they don't have a great history, and the stadium is small, and nobody really cares about Northwestern football. But last year, they had their highest ever season ticket allotment in Northwestern football history because of 2 simple words. And it wasn't winning football, by the way, that got them there. It was Notre Dame. And, of course, Arkansas doesn't get Notre Dame to visit Fayetteville until 2022, but they do go to Notre Dame next year. And for me, no matter what else is going on the schedule, I mean, you got Alabama and LSU in back-to-back weeks. You got a seriously front-loaded schedule of a lot of difficult teams. But just seeing Notre Dame on a Razorback schedule just kind of pops the top off your head a little bit.
Oh, it's really enticing. We're talking with Bill about it yesterday, how cool that campus and the atmosphere is on game days down there in South Bend. It's unbelievable. When you think college football, regardless of your opinions about religion or whatsoever, it's Notre Dame. Notre Dame is one of those blue blood schools that you think of, like a USC, like an Alabama. They go in that same category. Now, I know they haven't fared well lately in the big-time games. Go back to when they got crushed by Alabama in 2012 or getting blown out in the college football playoff, but that's still a very prestigious school.
They're the Dallas Cowboys of college football.
Yes.
And have been for a long time. They got a fan base that goes coast to coast. Whether or not any of those fans or a lot of those fans have ever been to South Bend or have any connection to Notre Dame, they draw eyes, they draw butts in seats, and they draw attention just simply because of who they are. They're Notre Dame.
And I think Rudy, the movie, also helps that out because that's such a likable movie. I don't know what your opinion on that. I haven't talked to many people that don't like that movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, and I think that
a little sappy, but for reasons you can understand.
Exactly. So, I'm really excited. I won't be getting to attend the game. Tommy's going to go down there, but just the fact that Arkansas gets to play in that atmosphere, I think, as a player, a potential recruit, that's a pitch that Chad Morris can sell some of these guys on. Like, you get to go down to Notre Dame next year. These freshmen that just came in, the potential freshmen that you're trying to recruit in. I mean, that is a talking point for me. At least it would be for me. I don't know about how some of these high school kids recruit. And, again, it's not the number one selling point of your football program at this point. You can't start out the meets like, hey, we're going to play Notre Dame next year. But it's at least something you can add in to the conversation. Say you get the opportunity to play in one of the greatest atmospheres, one of the most historic venues in college football.
And against a program that shockingly, maybe, Arkansas's never played Notre Dame on the football field. And I wondered this, if this is sort of Notre Dame can pick who they want to schedule, and they always have a cupcake or two, but they're as the main independent left in college football, they can pretty much schedule who they want. So why does Notre Dame schedule Arkansas? Is it an apology for the garbage you were left with on the schedule this year after Michigan broke the contract essentially to get back to playing Notre Dame? I mean, that's why that contract was broken by the Michigan Wolverines, sticking Arkansas with, yes, $2 million for breaking the contract, but with Colorado State on the schedule. And, yes, I know you lost to Colorado State last year, and you just have to hate the thought of calling that a revenge game, but it is what it is, I guess. And that, I mean, you as an SEC team, you have to schedule a Power 5 or major independent every year. It's right there in the scheduling rules for all SEC teams. You got a waiver for the last 2 years. But it feels to me like this is almost like we're sorry about that, Notre Dame says to Arkansas. Hey, maybe we'll schedule a couple of times, and people will show up at our stadium no matter what. We'll get an SEC team on the schedule, and then we'll see what Fayetteville's all about when you sell that stadium out, no matter how good or bad that team is. And then again, that is the second week of the season, so optimism will abound no matter what. But the front part of the schedule, it's not even the first half, really. I mean, it's the first 7 weeks, because Arkansas does not have an open date or a bye week, whatever you want to call it, until October 24th. You have 2 bye weeks this year. I guess the season is starting about a week earlier this year than it does next year. But the Hogs are off this season, week 6, and then the third to last weekend of the year. But, I mean, the front load of the schedule here, get a load of it. Kent State at home to open. But then, in a row, 3 road games at Notre Dame, at Mississippi State, and in Arlington at Jerry World against Texas A&M. Those are going to be 3 top 25, maybe, top 10 teams, potentially, depending on where Joe Moorhead has Mississippi State. And I think Jimbo Fisher will have A&M right there in that top 10. You get Charleston Southern at home October 3rd, but then back-to-back weeks, you get your first SEC home game October 10th against Alabama, and then a much earlier than usual LSU game on October the 17th. Those Arkansas LSU games usually been saved for November, but you're moving it right to the middle of the season. And it's not like you have cream puffs at the end of the season, Ty, but, man, weeks 2 through 7 next year, that's quite a gauntlet.
I can't remember the last time Arkansas played Mississippi State as early as they had, and I know that John mentioned that on the Morning Rush, and he brought up a good point. But the point that I wanted to also reach on, Phil, is one that Danny West made, and I knew the streak had been a while, but he kind of laid the groundwork for it. Arkansas has started on the road or at a neutral field every single year since 2014. Auburn in 2014, A&M 2015 through 2017.
Now, these are first conference games,
correct?
Okay.
First SEC conference games. Auburn on the road in 2018, Ole Miss on the road in 2019 this year, and then Mississippi State on the road in 2020. And there's always been the argument, I know Arkansas fans listening to the program right now always feel like the SEC slights them in some way. Well, when you look at that, and when you look at how traditionally the SEC tries to put a bye week or a really bad non-conference game before Alabama takes on LSU or the Iron Bowl, that's a phrase to pull from Tommy's vernacular, a stick in your craw a little bit, Phil.
I like the stick in the craw a little bit. And sometimes there are, with baseball, they always end the season on the road, no matter what. And that's because of just the way that they've asked to get it scheduled every year, because they host state finals at Baum-Walker Stadium every year. I don't know why the reasoning would be that you've opened your conference schedule on the road so often. At Mississippi State for next year. And, of course, this season you open your SEC slate on the road at Ole Miss with the most winnable game of the season. Other things that stand out just looking at the schedule here, Ty. Alabama's got a really tough end of the season next year. No, by the way, you get a regular season Alabama-Georgia matchup in Week 3 next year in Tuscaloosa. So maybe that'll be the first of 2 that those schools match up against each other. Bama next year, I guess they've been used to kind of starting the year with I was going to say a tough opponent. I don't know how tough Duke is this year, but it's usually a neutral site and against a Power 5 team. They're in Atlanta with Duke this year, and then next year at Dallas against Southern Cal. And you ask a good question here, and I know this is something we'll sort of be paying attention to. And who's going to be the first or anybody to ask Urban Meyer this when he stands at the podium at the Little Rock Touchdown Club and he's asked, are you going to be coaching against Nick Saban with Southern Cal against Alabama week 1 next year? What do you think?
I'm sure that Trojan fans would much rather see Urban Meyer at the helm than Clay Helton win Alabama and them meet on the football field at Dallas. That matchup, I know that I would feel a lot sure about my football team if Urban Meyer was heading it up, regardless of what you think about his character and personality issues that he's been shown to have over the years. That's a definite scenario that we're going to play with, especially if Clay Helton doesn't make it through the season or gets fired after the season. It's going to be fun to talk about.
Last 4 weeks next year, though, for Bama at LSU, they get their cream puff the third to last week rather than before the Iron Bowl, UT Martin, but then Alabama hosts A&M and Auburn in the Iron Bowl in the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hey, traditionally, the SEC, this is a point that many brought up. The SEC traditionally schedules a cream puff or they have an open week before those teams face off, and it's the opposite kind of this year. The Alabama and LSU both have open weeks before they duel it out in Tuscaloosa, and we think that Alabama's probably going to win that game, but it should be hopefully a decent game. At least that's what you would hope. But remember, I was telling you a couple weeks back when the report came out, CBS is not broadcasting that game.
The Iron Bowl.
Is not the Iron Bowl. Sorry, I need to be clear. The LSU Alabama game. Sorry, I didn't mean to almost make you fall out of your chair. But yeah, they're not broadcasting the LSU Alabama game, which has been traditionally the second broadcast at CBS. They typically do a doubleheader when that game goes on, but they're not broadcasting it this year. So, but it is interesting that both these teams, as you mentioned, don't get cupcakes. Like A&M's not going to be a cupcake this year for Auburn, for Alabama, and Auburn's definitely not going to get a cupcake in LSU. So they don't have an easy road before they face off in the Iron Bowl, which has traditionally not been the case, Phil.
And I wanted to mention A&M because so much of the topic of Texas A&M this year in Jimbo Fisher's second year is that they are an extremely talented team, better than last year on paper, but with the ridiculous schedule they have, I mean, going to Clemson, they get Bama, they get Georgia and LSU. They don't have anything like that next year. In fact, Texas A&M's schedule, I guess you compare it to this year's cream puff. Their non-con games are Abilene Christian, North Texas, Colorado's their only Power 5 out of non-conference game, and Fresno State. So I mean, there's nothing like that. Of course, they do get Alabama, they do get LSU, but the cross-divisional team is South Carolina. So it's a much different ball of wax for what probably will be another highly talented Texas A&M team, just based on the schedule here compared to Alabama, compared to Georgia. The Aggies have a real chance at doing some damage before they play Alabama and before LSU they finish the season with next year.
And I feel the same rhetoric has been used concerning Texas A&M on every single college football magazine I've either read, whether it's Lindy's or Athlon, or just previews that have been coming out from ESPN, CBS, or wherever you kind of read your college football news, is this team's really good. Everyone seems to really like this team. Kellen Mond, depending on how you look at it, is a top 3 or 4 quarterback in the SEC. But the point that everyone draws back to, Phil, is their schedule is just brutal. So, you know how sometimes a team might be better, but they just play a schedule that is just so hard, so difficult that the improvement doesn't show. This might be the case in Texas A&M. I think they're probably going to be better in year 2 than they were under year 1 of Jimbo Fisher, but fans aren't necessarily going to see that because the win total, it might be the same as last year, or it might be 1 or 2 games worse just based on who you have to go through. And it's not who you have to go through because it's the SEC, but where you got to do it. Because when you have to end your schedule in Death Valley and Athens, Georgia, as good as Georgia is now under Kirby Smart and as tough as Death Valley has always been to play, that's not easy for anyone. That's not even easy for Nick Saban in Alabama. Now, I think you'd be more inclined to think that they would win those ball games, but you're not just looking if Alabama had Georgia and LSU to end the year. It's like, oh, they'll win. They'll do it. You'd pause a little bit. Now, you might still pick them, but at least would give you a little time to think about pausing.
We'll touch more on Arkansas's 2020 schedule and the rest of the SEC all throughout halftime today. If you want to react to any of that, Call us or text us on the Cherokee Casino hotline at 877-377-6963. If you do text us, give us your name and your location, and we'll give you your proper due. Later on in halftime today, hour number 1, Carrington Harrison will be joining us. He's a sports radio host in Kansas City. You might have heard on an ESPN interview that Dabo Swinney did, and it was a wide-ranging interview talking about being sick of hearing about Alabama, whining about playing against the SEC teams and blaming their loss against playing a tough schedule instead of Clemson being better. He touched on some other I don't think he did touch on the 12 secondary violations that Clemson self-reported to the NCAA today, all of them involving football. He did touch on Kelly Bryant, who, of course, was part of Clemson's team last year for, 2-3 weeks, but then turned himself into the Kelly Bryant free agent tour, did not get a championship ring. So that's something to touch on, too, and we'll also get an update on what's going on with Mizzou football because, oh, by the way, Bryant and their great tight end, whose name I still can't pronounce properly, went down briefly with injuries. We'll see if they're back and able to get practicing as well. Also, Bob Holt in hour number 2. Bob is right there at practice. Practice has been going on, well, I guess it'll probably be over now for about 10 minutes. Players are to be made available for interviews, so we'll get with Bob on some updates from Arkansas practice all throughout hour number 2. By the way, it is Thursday. Thursday is the start of the weekend. And you should be planning to head over to 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge at 906 Garrison Avenue, not just for a great night out, but also great lunch and light dinner items you're not going to find anywhere else. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge now has a top chef on staff. They're coming up with things like chicken pyro, the Cubana, or if you like wings, jumbo wings, roasted with honey bacon, jam, plus salads, flatbreads, and desserts. Always have great coffees for lunch or dinner, and it's in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Plus, of course, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, and the most popular brands of cigars available in the state. Find them on Facebook for more specials and events. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Sample, indulge, and escape. Back with more on halftime next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
What's your name? What's your sign?
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Tell me this, do you kiss on the first date?
ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
What's up, everybody? This is John Neighbors of The Morning Rush coming to you live from Hardee's here in Fort Smith at 4123 Grand Avenue, where we're doing another lunch qualifier for the Thick Burger Eating Competition for the football trip of a lifetime. All you have to do is come over here to 4123 Grand Avenue at the Hardee's, eat a third-pound thick burger in 90 seconds or less, and you qualify for the football trip of a lifetime to watch the Chiefs and Chargers this upcoming football season, December 29th in Kansas City. You can also check out their Charborough double deals for only $2.49 and get your choice of the Hardee's Classic, the Bacon Cheddar Double, or the Double Cheese. You can also try the Garlic Bread Thick Burger, available for a limited time as well. We only have a few of these left, folks. We only have a couple of spots left, so if you want to do this, you're running out of time. You got to come out here to the Hardee's at 4123 Grand Avenue. Give it a shot. You may not have another opportunity, so come on by, try to eat a thick burger in 90 seconds or less, and you are qualified for the football trip of a lifetime.
What happened to paying one price and getting everything included? You buy an airline ticket and pay extra to bring a change of clothes, book a hotel room, and you're shelling out for Wi-Fi and overpriced bottled water. Shipping and handling. Really? Imagine my delight when I found out roadside assistance is now included with my shelter insurance auto policy. So if I get a flat tire or need a jump, I just call and they take care of me. No additional cost. Some restrictions apply, so learn more at shelterinsurance.com.
Call me, Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith.
Or call me, Jim Malum in Charleston.
Was your roof damaged by recent storms? Don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006. 474-0006. We'll work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection. 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
Dee's Family Restaurant of Alma at 39 Column Lane across from the water park is now open on Sundays. Breakfast is served all day, and our hot buffet is served from 11 to 8, 7 days a week. Our breakfast buffet is now served from 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every day. All-you-can-eat steak Thursday night, cooked order prime rib Friday night, and a seafood buffet on Saturday night. We have a party room that'll seat 50 and plenty of parking. Call ahead, 632-1014.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way, taking the mumbo jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us, selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
Hey, let's have fun today. At Magic Springs today we play.
Magic Springs Theme and Water Park has big rides, big slides, and big concerts. Coming Saturday, August 10th at 7 p.m. Pop Evil and Seven Dust together. Magic Springs in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Concert is free with your one-day admission or season pass. Get yours at magicsprings.com or Kroger.
Magic Springs, we love you.
This is the Morning Rush.
Arkansas has not won their first game in SEC play since 2010. Ooh. 2010, when they beat Georgia on the road. Child's Please play.
Barely won that one.
Barely won that one. That was the last time Arkansas won their SEC opener. To me, that's an incredible stat as well.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That isn't an opinion.
No, it's facts.
That's not an opinion you just had. That's a factual statement.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Attention, please.
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, offering smart looks for back to school and serving your community daily. Supercuts, we're super in style. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Brantley trying to turn the corner, lost the football, and the Hawks have it. They will have it at the 35-yard line. Jevin Calloway came up to make the hit.
Hey, if you're looking for a new car, Rhodes Chevrolet, the name you've been trusting for over 80 years. Rhodes is dependable in both car buying and car owning. You walk into that showroom, very first time, you'll be treated just like family. That's part of the family-owned dealership and service department serving the River Valley for over 8 decades. Your next dependable vehicle is at Rhodes Chevrolet, 2800 Alma Highway in Van Buren, or at RhodesChevy.com. Rhodes Chevrolet is dependable since 1934. Well, Tennessee lost a potential starting defensive lineman to a torn ACL a couple of days ago. That was Emmett Gooden, who was the only returner from last year on defense for Tennessee. Good news that Arkansas hasn't dealt with any of that yet, but ACL tears were things that took down 2 incoming players last year, their final years of high school. Jalen Catalon, the safety who's returned a couple of interceptions in practice for touchdowns and outran John Chavis in the process, which he probably could have done just on handstands. I think he played just 1 game last year. Traylon Burks went down with an ACL tear as well, and both are practicing in saying there's no problems whatsoever. You see Catalon, the way he's already played on camera, and we've seen this quite a bit. He looks great. Traylon Burks, he made a great catch that was tweeted out by the Arkansas football team a couple of days ago, and it looks like that knee is very healthy too.
It scared me the way he landed on that knee, and I know maybe I'm a little more cautious because I am also one that's torn his ACL, and so any type of contorting, any weird landing, it kind of scares me a little bit, but he was able to make that spectacular one-handed catch. But these guys are hopefully going to be impact players in even year one. And there's the story we're about to bring up is from ArkansasRazorbacks.com. It's kind of a walkthrough of Traylon Burks' first practice. You had a bunch of pictures, a video, and just kind of some cool tidbits that you kind of took away from this, Phil. I thought Arkansas did a pretty good job with this.
Do you worry about you brought this up, I think, yesterday, just the expectations? Could you use the word expectations when you're talking about a 4-star recruit like Burks in state, has the body, to to play this year and the speed to play this year. You know he's going to be out there. You know, it's the same kind of is hype the proper word to use, you know, describing around Trey Knox? Because hype and expectations kind of go hand in hand, and he's, you know, Burks is being marketed right here as a premier incoming player, making a big deal out of, you know, his first photos in a Razorback uniform in practice.
Well, you think about who was photographed in the Darren McFadden jersey. It was Trey Knox. You think about how so many questions from the media have been, which, again, there's nothing wrong with this, but they haven't been asking about the veterans as much as they have the new players, because they feel like they know more about the new players than they do about the young players. And Chad Morris is so excited about these young guys, it's hard for the fans not to get excited too. He knows the expectation. I know that we've heard from Justin Stepp that he wants Trey Knox to have his freshman year be in the offseason and spring practice and fall practice, and his sophomore year to be actually this season. They know the expectations. They probably have realistic expectations for their guys in year ones. But what happens is when fans keep hearing the same rhetoric from these guys over and over, how good they've been in practice, how much they're impressing, how much they've come in and changed the culture, added to the culture of this program that you're trying to turn in that direction, they become overhyped from the fans' perspective. And that's what I'm cautioning those listening right now, because, again, Joe Adams, Jarius Wright, Greg Childs, less than 1,000 yards combined in their freshman season. I would be shocked if Hudson Henry, Traylon Burks, and Trey Knox went over that. Even though you're probably going to throw the ball a little bit more this year, I would just be surprised if they were going to escalate that, because I think they're going to have similar numbers to those guys back in 2008.
Speaking of Hudson Henry, did you see he's not expected to take part in the scrimmage on Saturday? Was out of practice yesterday and was because of concussion protocol. There was another player that was in the same situation, and I didn't write it down. I forget exactly who it was, but that's you know, concussion protocol can be a weird thing because you never quite know how long you're in that protocol. So to be missing his first scrimmage, you know, and I know that it's already a deep room, as we say, with the tight ends. But you'd want Hudson to be out there for that first weekend, but he won't be there.
Yeah, and again, that's one of those things where you want him to get as much playing time as, and it's not in-game experience, but the more experience these freshmen have, the better, unless an injury was to occur, which do you consider concussion an injury, Phil?
I do.
Like, you do? Okay.
Absolutely.
I would say the same as well. I know I've talked to some people like, it's not an injury, it's like it's a head injury. It absolutely is.
It's an injury.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
It would qualify as that.
It's like it's like a bruise anywhere else, but it happens to be a bruise in the toughest part to get one that will have the most lasting effect.
Because one of the things that Traylon Burks mentioned in this Arkansas article, which is on ArkansasRazorbacks.com, is the difference. One of the main differences is, one, the ice baths, how important those are to him now because of after practice and whatnot, but the physicality that he faces in just Arkansas's cornerbacks. And if he thinks that's going to be difficult, which I'm not saying that it's impossible to get around these guys, blah, 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 but if he thinks that the physicality is different facing the likes of the Arkansas secondary, just wait till you get into that week 3 stretch where you go Notre Dame, Mississippi State, A&M, and then you get in that the 2-week stretch between Bama, LSU. If you think this is difficult now, just wait, buddy. It's going to get a whole lot worse.
Hey, before we go into this break and bring out Carrington Harrison, Tye, what's your opinion on Kelly Bryant not getting a ring for last year's Clemson's national championship? And I'll tell you why I think it's fine for him not to get one. It's different from professional sports where free agency occurs in the offseason. And trades that occur during a season, when you're dealt to a contender, teams are pretty happy about, players are happy about that. When you're dealt away from a contender, you're unhappy about that, and it's not your choice to be traded. I know there's the whole 5 and 10 rule in baseball and all that, where a player can sometimes say no to a trade, depending on if he's been in the game 10 years and with the same team 5 years. But this was different, This was Kelly Bryant going on a free agency tour during the season, putting himself on display, marketing his talents, and it was his right to do so. But he chose to leave that team and left them in the lurch, essentially. They should have lost to Syracuse after Trevor Lawrence went down with the injury, and the backup comes, I can't even remember his name. The backup comes in, and they find a way to win. I think Bryant did not deserve that championship ring, and I think it's well within Dabo Swinney's wherewithal to keep it from him.
Here's my one gripe with that. If you're going to come at it from the perspective that look at Jalen Hurts and look at Kelly Bryant, look at how this guy responded, how this guy responded. First of all, you have to look at the facts, and this is why I was kind of a little frustrated with Tommy and John this morning because they kept pointing to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts still had a year left where he could play football. Let's put it in perspective. If Kelly Bryant had played another game past the 4 games this season, he would have been done. He would have been done with his collegiate career. His eligibility would have expired. But because he decided to leave, he was allowed to transfer schools and allowed to have the grad transfer because of the new redshirt rule. Jalen Hurts was just entering his junior year. Therefore, when he transferred and he's ended up staying in, he played through his junior year. He played enough games where he ended up using his junior year. He would still, as a grad transfer, be eligible to play at Oklahoma. So the only thing I get frustrated with if when people try and compare Jalen Hurts to Kelly Bryant, it's an apples to oranges argument. Jalen Hurts had eligibility left, regardless if he stayed or not. Kelly Bryant did not. I would probably lean towards your line of thinking, but that's kind of the only thing I get frustrated with.
We'll talk with Carrington Harrison from Sports Radio 610 in Kansas City about that in a moment. Hey, if you're looking for a new RV, go over to Breeden RV and Motorsports because they have upfront and no hassle pricing. In fact, the moment any RV hits their lot, it is heavily discounted, so you'll be guaranteed the best price around. Breeden RV, also the only dealership around offering maintenance for life with no extra charge on your new travel trailer, fifth wheel, or motorhome. So come see Breeden RV today on Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma, or check out BreedenRV.com. Back after a break on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime. ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
What's up, everybody? This is John Neighbors of The Morning Rush coming to you live from Hardee's here in Fort Smith at 4123 Grand Avenue, where we are doing another lunch qualifier for the thick burger eating competition for the football trip of a lifetime. Come on out to 4123 Grand Avenue at this Hardee's. Need a third-pound thick burger in 90 seconds or less, and you qualify for the football trip of a lifetime to watch the Chiefs and Chargers take on each other this year, December 29th, in Kansas City. You can also check out their Charboiled double deals for only $2.49. Get your choice of Hardee's Classic, the bacon double cheddar, or the double cheese. You can also try the garlic bread thick burger for a limited time. I've been out here so far, folks, for just a little bit, but that's all right because we've had people already showing up. We've had 2 try it out and only 1 qualify. So you got to make sure you get out here if you want to go on a football trip of a lifetime. You're running out of time. And the last thing you want to do is be left out in the cold knowing that you could have eaten a thick burger in 90 seconds or less and you missed out. So come on by Hardee's, 4123 Grand Avenue, and give it a shot.
The new Harry Robinson Salisal Ford has a bigger selection with over 200 vehicles in stock, personal service from a staff that is ready to work with you, and an all-new service department that's friendly and will fix your car right the first time. This is our promise to you at the new Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisal, Oklahoma.
Harry Robinson Salisal Ford.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Football season is here at Crabtree RV in Alma. We make tailgating with your favorite team very affordable, with discounts up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels and $10,000 off new travel trailers. Check out deals like the new Catalina with patio for as low as $249 a month. Browse the area's largest indoor showroom and explore the new 2020 styles from Grand Design and Coachman Freedom Express. That's only at Crabtree RV in Alma. where your family's dreams come true.
Halftime is brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your evening on the Avenue. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Jones slowly throws back to the end zone. Touchdown! Stephen Harris. There were two wideouts going across the back line, and he was on that edge right in the corner, and he pulls it down.
Back on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com. Carrington Harrison joining us. He's from Sports Radio 610 in Kansas City. And we're talking Missouri. We're talking the Kelly Bryant deal right now. I guess the first thing to ask Carrington, did Missouri football fans have their collective breaths held as tightly as they possibly could when Kelly Bryant and the great tight end went down with injuries the other day? And what's happened since? I know it's been a couple of days. Are these guys back practicing now?
Well, you got to think about it. If you're a Missouri fan, you're just always worried about something going wrong, and those are probably two of the five most important players on the team, so there was definitely some collective worry. They actually both fully participated in practice yesterday in pads, so I don't think there's any long-term concern. But, again, if you cheer for Missouri, you always got to have some amount of worry.
So there's this fatalistic approach to being a Missouri football fan, and maybe with good reason. You know, you're still not given a lot of respect as an SEC team, even though you've won a couple of division championships. You've sent players to the NFL. You look like an SEC team in so many ways, but fatalism is different than what's happened, you know, to this year's team, which looks like it could be a good team for Barry Odom, but might not have a shot at playing in the postseason. I mean, you could say bitterness, I think, more than anything for Missouri fans right now. Would that be correct?
I don't know if it's that as much as it was the first couple of seasons. I mean, it definitely was that feeling that Missouri wasn't real SEC, and I think that's how the rest of the SEC treated them. I don't know necessarily if that's the case anymore, because certainly in the East, Missouri has just shown they can compete with every team that's not Georgia. Now, Georgia's probably one of the three best teams in the country, so not a lot of teams are competing with Georgia. But I think Missouri's shown that they can hang with Florida, they can hang with Tennessee, they can hang with South Carolina. So I don't know necessarily if it's that approach anymore that it was when Missouri first joined the conference. I think it's more just, I don't know if self-inflicted is the correct term, but think about it. So Missouri had the number one football recruit in Doyle Green Beckham. He only plays 2 years at Missouri and then gets kicked off the team. They had the number one basketball recruit who played 23 minutes for Missouri his freshman season. They then had Jonte Porter, who had a really good freshman season, decided to come back and then tore his ACL in practice. I mean, I could go on for the next hour about unfortunate things that have just happened to Missouri. So I don't know if it's just a changing conference thing, an SEC thing. It might just be a Missouri thing.
One fan base that Missouri's stuck in their craw is Arkansas. And Arkansas fans, I think they're more used to losing to Alabama than anything else. They're really frustrated with the losing streak, which is now 7 years to Texas A&M. But to be losing the way they've lost to Missouri in recent years, because Arkansas, I'll just be honest here, they want to make fun of Missouri, but it's difficult to do so right now.
Yeah, I think that there's a pretty clear line of teams in the SEC that are better than Missouri. I don't think that Missouri fans would argue too much. Like, Alabama is obviously better than them. Georgia is clearly better than them. LSU is clearly better than them. And then I think there's like a clear line, and then Missouri fans feel like they're better than all the rest of those programs, and Arkansas is certainly one of those programs. Like, I know that there's a competition and a rivalry and all that kind of stuff. In football, Missouri's just better than Arkansas. Like, I don't really concern myself with Arkansas. Like, they're kind of a team that every year I kind of pencil that in for a W whenever I see the schedule come out. Basketball, it's been back and forth. They're pretty similar programs, I think, on the hardwood, and Arkansas has certainly been better of late. But football-wise, yeah, I don't really look at Arkansas as that much of competition.
Talking with Carrington Harrison, Sports Radio 610 radio host in Kansas City. Let's keep the Arkansas and Missouri conversation going, Carrington. With Kelly Bryant, there was the competition between the two schools. Obviously, they were recruiting him. He ends up going to Columbia and ultimately choosing Mizzou. And one of the conversations we had on our morning program was the fact that Dabo Swinney came out and said, I think on ESPN.com, that he is not giving Kelly Bryant a ring. And most Arkansas fans and our two morning hosts responded they were okay with that. And I'm still debating on where I am on that. But I think if he had decided on Arkansas and then Dabo had said, oh, you're not getting a ring, their opinion would have changed. Do you think if he had been at Arkansas and decided on Fayetteville that Arkansas fans would kind of be ticked off if Dabo wasn't going to give him a ring.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, that's kind of how most people think. I mean, I just try to, and maybe it's just our profession that I try to remove some of the fandom from it. Like, I just try to have consistent stances. Like, I'm always going to be pro-student athlete. Like, very rarely am I going to be on the side of universities and the system. That I think that the system typically allows people like Dabo Swinney, who's an amazing coach. Like, he's the second best coach in college football, that it allows certain people to reach a certain level of power and influence where people are afraid to challenge them. Like, I just think Dabo is wrong in this context. Like, Kelly Bryant was a member of the team, was an important member of the team, so therefore he should be rewarded as such. He didn't transfer at the beginning of the season. They used up all his eligibility. If he had decided to play another game at Clemson, he would have voided the rest of his eligibility and severely hurt his chance to play in the NFL or play anywhere else, obviously, because he used all his eligibility. Like, Dabo should understand the system a little bit more and have a little bit more compassion towards a student athlete. Like, I hear these arguments all the time about student comes first and all this kind of stuff. Well, like, we rarely show compassion to the student side of it. Like, Kelly Bryant was a part of something. He did everything he was supposed to do at Clemson. He lost his opportunity to a transcendent freshman, and it was over at Clemson. Like, he wasn't going to be the starter anymore. He exhausted all his opportunity. There was only one decision left if you wanted to keep playing college football. Like, no one should fault Kelly Bryant, or it shouldn't be a knock that he made a decision to transfer from Clemson.
Carrington, this may be of a stretch, but the comparison I initially thought of was 1971, 1972, the Los Angeles Lakers. Elgin Baylor decided to retire 9 games into the season. They would go on to win 33 straight, and they won the NBA championship against the Knicks that year. Elgin was given a ring, but if you're going to say, like some people would say, oh, he quit on his team, he ultimately retired, but is that comparison far-fetched at all? And I know it's professional college, but that's just what I initially thought of when I saw this, and I was kind of leaning towards Kelly Bryant, as you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the comparisons that people have made. I always try to avoid workplace comparisons just because Kelly Bryant is not an employee of Clemson football. Like, that's not the relationship that they have, because if they did, he'd be getting paid, and that's a completely different argument. And the professional argument is just changes a little bit. If anything, Dabo should just give the team the ability to vote on it. Dabo might have his own feelings towards it, but I don't know what the penalty is of asking the 100 kids that played Clemson football, what do you think should happen with Kelly Bryant? And then if the team and group decides not to give him a ring, well, all right, that's fine. Like, that's his teammates. But it shouldn't be unilaterally decided by one individual who clearly he seems spiteful and a little petty towards the situation. Like, it kind of put his team in a bad spot. They didn't have a backup quarterback. Remember last year against Syracuse, they could have lost that game because they didn't have Kelly Bryant. Like, it just seems like it's holding sour grapes that just seems very unnecessary when Dabo Swinney makes, $7 million a year off the backs of athletes like Kelly Bryant. Like, why are you in this public spat over a ring that costs, $200,000, $300,000? Like, why is this even an argument? Just give him the ring, thank him for what he did at Clemson, and everybody can move on. Like, it just seems unnecessarily petty to me.
So, Carrington, you were talking about epic battles a little bit that Missouri's faced over the years, and I go back to 2007 where you had that grand game against Kansas. Todd Reesing, Briscoe, Jeremy Maclin, Chase Daniel. You guys, not you guys, but Missouri would go on to win that game and then just get blown out by Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship that following week, and they would have been in the national championship. Arkansas's had those occurrences. 98 when they had a chance against Tennessee, might have won the championship that year. 69, there's other years that Arkansas's had the chance. Do you feel like that the two fan bases have felt a similar amount of pain and suffering, that they were so close and that yet just couldn't come up big in the big moment?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you bring that up because Missouri's kind of had two of those opportunities. So you're right, 2007 they had that opportunity. They also had that opportunity, I want to say it was 2013. Maybe I got my years off just a little bit. But yeah, they kind of had that. I was actually tweeting about this whenever I saw the college football preseason ranking come out. Like, all of us love and appreciate college football. Like, I mean, you're in Arkansas, so obviously you love college football. Like, college football is one of those things where people never crack the top 15 programs consistent. Like, Arkansas has been a good football program. Missouri's been a good football program. Like, sometimes the best you're going to do when you're that is you're going to have the years where you're like, we almost had a shot. But then you typically lose to one of the programs that are legitimately top 5 programs. Like, when Missouri had opportunities to take that next step, they lost to Alabama. They lost to Auburn. They lost to Oklahoma. teams that we would agree are just at a higher tier than where Missouri is. That college football, there's very rare instances. There's your Oregon, there's your Boise State, Washington right now is one of those programs. But for the most part, the same 15 teams win in college football every year.
Carrington, appreciate a moment of your time here. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good show today, and hopefully maybe we can talk to you before the Arkansas-Mizzou game.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks a lot.
You got it. Carrington Harrison joining us here on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Tye, you got the weekend coming up. You got a couple of cold Coors Light facts you want to throw at me today?
Oh, absolutely. So for those who don't know, Coors Light is now a sponsor of Halftime. We really appreciated them. They take pride in their process and the ingredients they make the world's most refreshing beer. It doesn't get colder than this. Cold lagered below freezing to give our beer the best crisp taste. Cold filtered for its bright appearance. Cold packaged at its peak of freshness. Cold activated can. When the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. You know the phrase, Phil. You know the phrase, right? When it's blue, go for two. You've heard that, right? Okay.
I don't think I'd heard that necessarily.
Okay. Well, there's the generational.
I learned something every day.
Generational gap.
Have you
It
really
is
not heard
halftime
that?
homework today.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, when the mountains are blue, go for two. Cold activated can, it's great. Coors Light, made to chill.
Come back after the break, wrap up the first hour of halftime, ESPN Arkansas, and hitthatline.com.
Good coaches win. Great coaches cover. This is Halftime.
Proclaim Construction has been in the industry for a combined 50 years, and they can meet any needs you may have for your home or business. Proclaim is your insurance restoration specialist, and they're offering a no-cost, limited-time free roof inspection, and they'll make your insurance claim if necessary. Whether it's basic repair, remodel, or complete makeover, Proclaim Construction guarantees your satisfaction with the best warranty in the business. Proclaim has references for your peace of mind, and they're licensed, bonded, and insured for your protection. Call 479-407-9598.
Do you love crab legs? Like you could eat your weight in crab legs? Kind of love them? Then get to the Catfish Kitchen in Van Buren every Tuesday night for all-you-can-eat crab legs from 4 till 8. All the meaty, delicious crab legs you can hold. Plus all the fixins like coleslaw, beans, and the best hush puppies. Plus your drink, dessert, and ice cream are all included. It's only $44.95. That's all-you-can-eat crab legs every Tuesday night from 4 till 8 at Catfish Kitchen, 727 Fayetteville Road at the top of Logtown Hill, across from the police station in Van Buren. Are your real estate investments being properly managed? Are you sending a check or cashing a check each month? If you're tired of your current property managers, then call Trinity Multifamily. Trinity will qualify your tenants and leases, inspect your properties, and take care of maintenance and provide you with web-based access to current financial reports, leases, and pictures of your property. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
If you needed major surgery, you probably wouldn't choose a doctor who's never been to medical school. So when your car needs major repairs after a collision, why would you take your car to a body shop that's never been trained? Evans Body Shop is among only 10% of collision repair businesses to meet the industry's highest training standards as a gold class shop. We know the latest repair techniques, how to find hidden damage, and how to repair your car's critical safety features so they work properly again. With the safety of your vehicle and your family at stake, choose trained repair professionals. Choose Evans Body Shop,
where we meet the nicest people by accident.
It's the Rock and Roll Endless Pools event going on right now at Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale. Hi, Tommy Kraft here. If you've seen them on TV and always wondered about an endless pool, now is the time during the Rock and Roll event through September 2nd. Get a free upgrade with free music and resistance bands with the purchase of an endless pool fitness system or swim cross exercise system at Burton Pools and Spas. This is a $1,229 retail value. Check it out for yourself. The endless pools. If you want to improve your fitness, relieve pressure in your body, melt away the stress of daily life, an endless pool can be perfect for you, and it's a great choice. See the full line of endless pools for yourself at Burton Pools and Spas during the Rock and Roll event, 6121 Zero Street in Fort Smith, and just off I-49 at the 412 exit in Springdale, and always online at burtonpools.com. It's the Endless Pools Rock and Roll event, now through Labor Day at Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale.
Hello, would you like me to find workout classes near you?
There are no stores that sell glasses within 10 miles of your location.
There's enough artificial in the world. That's why Michelob Ultra is brewed with no artificial colors or flavors. With just 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. 2019 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 grams carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0.0 grams fat per 12 ounces.
Painting your ceiling but afraid of the mess? Hurry to Metters Lumber True Value for a gallon of bright white Easy Care ceiling paint for only $12.99. This non-splatter, quick-dry formula is water-based acrylic, so it's less messy and cleans up easily with soap and water. It also comes with a 15-year warranty. Pick up this great bargain of the month, along with brushes, ladders, tarps, and other accessories to make your painting project go smoothly, while supplies last. Have questions? Just ask the painting experts at Metters Lumber True Value.
Attention, please.
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, offering smart looks for back to school and serving your community daily. Supercuts, we're super in style. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Whaley. Wow. Walks into the end zone. And I mean walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Razorbacks.
At halftime, Phil Elson with you, along with Tye Richardson in the ESPN Arkansas studios. Get with us on the Cherokee Casino hotline via voice or text 877-377-6963. Tye, is Transfer U, a.k.a. Arkansas basketball, they don't have any transfers from Nevada, do they? Not one member of the Wolfpack that was coached by Eric Musselman is joining him on the Hill, correct?
No, that is correct, but there might be a former Razorback that could be joining Steve Alford up in Reno, Nevada.
Can you legitimately call Justice Hill a former Razorback? He never played a game for the Razorbacks. He might. I don't know if he wore a uniform when he was on the bench during practice, or during games.
I mean, he practiced.
He practiced with him. Does that? I guess that makes him a Razorback for a semester.
Sign his letter of intent. I mean, you could.
Such an odd thing, to graduate high school early, to come to campus, to practice with a team that you never play for, and now gets an offer from Coach Steve Alford to potentially be a member of the Nevada Wolfpack after he has already announced he's going to go play at Salt Lake Community College at least next year.
Maybe he'll stay out west. We'll see what happens.
Well, I've got an offer to be at Hardee's tomorrow in the Phoenix location, and I'm throwing a gauntlet down to beat Tye Richardson at a thick burger eating contest.
Yeah, noon to 2 p.m. Happy hour sliders only $1.25. This offer is going to be good during showtime hours at all Fort Smith locations and Sallisaw locations. And remember, it's the 15th annual thick burger eating contest. Tommy Kraft is out there now. This is your chance. Monday Night Football tickets. Chiefs, Chargers. Let me reiterate that. Chiefs, Chargers, I think it's December 28th, Monday Night Football, 2 tickets. Qualify today, 90 seconds or less, and you're in. You get a chance.
So, Tye, show prep for tomorrow. Do we do a full segment of just the two of us snarfing down a thick burger as fast as possible? Do we do the challenge between the two of us right there on air and gross out all of our listeners?
Might as well. So we're going to be at the Phoenix location tomorrow. Tommy from 12 to 2 today is at 4123 Grand Avenue. So I want to separate those again. Tommy's at Grand today, so you got another hour to go get qualified. Phil and I are going to be at the Phoenix location tomorrow from 12 to 2.
So what does the winner get? Aside from supreme indigestion from eating too quickly.
You can say whatever you want, man, because I feel supremely confident that I can beat you in this.
I'll get you a full 30-pack of Natterdays, because I know that's your favorite, and you get me a 12-pack of White Claws, if that's what it comes to.
12-pack of White Claws. Okay. Say that.
About the same price both way or the other.
Fair.
Either one of us, the two, from eating too quickly, which is not.
And I got a couple
so
qualifiers, but by my quick mistake correction, John is actually there. So you're getting a better, more incentive to go out that John's there than Tommy. So
we've got the second hour coming up. Bob Holt will join us on ESPN Arkansas. HitThatLine.com.
ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
What's up, everybody? This is John Neighbors of The Morning Rush coming to you live from Hardee's here in Fort Smith at 4123 Grand Avenue. We are doing another lunch qualifier for the thick burger eating competition for the football trip of a lifetime. All you got to do is come over to the Hardee's here at 4123 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith and eat a 30-pound thick burger in 90 seconds or less, and you qualify for the football trip of a lifetime to see the Chiefs and the Chargers play this football season in Kansas City. You can check out also their Charbroiled double deals for only $2.49. Get your choice of the Hardee's Classic, the Bacon Cheddar Double, or the Double Cheese. You can also try the Garlic Bread Thick Burger, available for a limited time. We're out here, and we've had a few people come in already, not having so much luck with them getting in under 90 seconds, but they have one other opportunity. I don't know if you'll have another opportunity, so be sure to come on by the Hardee's at 4123 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith. Eat a thick burger, 90 seconds or less, and you are in the finals for the football trip of a lifetime, presented by Hardee's, because it tastes better.
OG&E is offering home energy efficiency upgrades for a limited group of Arkansas customers, all for free. OG&E's weatherization program improves your comfort and reduces your energy bills by giving you everything from new attic insulation, caulking, ceiling air leaks, even energy-saving LED bulbs and more. That's thousands of dollars in free home improvements, but only a limited number of OG&E customers can qualify. Visit OGE.com/weatherization now.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold-filtered, cold-lagered, and cold-packaged. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue. Because that means it's ready to enjoy. Coors Light, as cold as the Rockies. Available down the street. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Mostly cloudy sky, a few isolated showers and storms possible tonight. An overnight low will drop down to near 70 degrees. Looking at cloudy skies, about a 50-50 chance of showers and storms on Thursday. Our high right around 85. And then a decent chance of showers and storms continuing Friday. Our high temperatures in the upper 80s to near 90. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Harry Robinson Buick GMC, where you always get more for your trade. Exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith. You can shop anytime at HarryRobinson.com.
The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 23 days.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Guys do a good job, and I'll listen to you guys.
2 more quarters, and after that, most of you will never play this game again.
D-Mac! Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
it? Wide open again.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Going to be a good second hour here on Halftime. Welcome back inside our ESPN Arkansas studios on a Thursday. Phil Elson with you. Tye Richardson as well. Bob Holt coming up later in the hour. An hour later than usual for a Thursday, and that's a good thing because Arkansas football practice is over for the day, and Bob might have some interesting nuggets. That would be the right term. Tidbits, nuggets. Those are all things that go into capsules on in newspapers are still a thing, I guess. On newspapers and inside Whole Hog Sport, little capsules. So we'll have some nuggety bits of goodness from Bob Holt later here in hour number 2. All right, it is a Thursday. Lots to get to, as usual, for your favorite segment of the week, Halftime Homework.
As if.
I don't trust this kid any further than I could throw him.
I got a question. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Get out of my class. Out! Get out!
I was still thinking of going back to school.
I do my homework now.
The millennial versus the middle-aged. It's time for Halftime Homework.
Tye Richardson assigned me one of the most famous and, you could say meaningful victories in the history of Arkansas Razorback football. Certainly in the, could you say recent history? Because it's been 20 years since this victory, the redemption game, the redeem game, is what Tye called it last week when he assigned it to me. We know about the loss the year before, the heartbreaking defeat to the Tennessee Volunteers with the Clint Sterner fumble being the play that everybody remembers. And, boy, I mean, Clint still gets it. Clint still gets it on social media day after day, and to be able to Clint's now hosting a sports radio show in Houston. And we've had him on our show. I've listened to him do talk radio. He's opinionated. He's well-rounded. He's got a sense of humor. And if you're talking football, you're talking the quarterback position, he's really, really good at breaking things down in a way to for the layman to understand it. But it doesn't that doesn't matter to the trolls who just remind him about the fumble from the 98 game every chance they get. And he owns it. I mean, what do? You can just own it, and he comes back at people, too. I think Carson Shaddy, will be dealing with that sort of stuff because of the foul ball from the end of the 2018 College World Series. And, Carson had a tremendous Arkansas baseball career. Legendary as far as I'm concerned, with coming in from as a Fayetteville kid. His dad was Dave Van Horn's double playmate for a year, a walk-on who redshirted at Arkansas, eventually gets the partial scholarship, becomes an all-SEC player, and I think he'd still be playing pro ball if not for the elbow surgery he had to undergo. But even with all that, he'll still be associated with the foul ball that wasn't caught. Same way that with Clint Sterner, he's always going to be associated with the fumble that potentially might have been the one play that took Arkansas out of a chance to win a national, at least play for a national championship in '98. And, of course, Tennessee did go on to win the national title that year with Tye Martin at quarterback. And I feel like he's not given the due that Clint deserves for what happened the next year. Now, even living in Arkansas for 18 and a half years and only being a part of the Razorbacks now for 5, one of the first things I remember, and I got here in 2001, people were talking about Sterner to Lucas then. They still talk about Sterner to Lucas now. Of course, the play that took Arkansas from trailing by 3 late in the fourth quarter and put them on top 28-24 with a perfectly thrown play fake into the back of the end zone that Anthony Lucas caught from 23 yards out. But the fumble still overshadows Sterner to Lucas because of what could have been. Arkansas did not have a great 99 season. I mean, they have a great finish with the Cotton Bowl win over Texas, but you're always left with that what could have been if the fumble didn't happen. But the Redeem game, Tye, I'm glad you had me watch it. It was entertaining for a number of – I watched the second half. I didn't watch the first 2 quarters.
And when I assign you, because I think based on kind of our report or what we've been talking about, I think you have far more to benefit from watching old Arkansas games than anything you can learn from my generation. So you're going to teach me some good pop culture and stuff from your generation. I'm just going to pick out some good Arkansas games that you may or may not have seen.
So that sounds good, and this would be near the top of the list.
Correct.
And they're familiar names. That was Cedric Cobbs's freshman year, and I mean that was he had a breakthrough freshman season,
C4,
but he had a breakthrough game there. I mean he ran for over 100 yards. If I look at the box score here properly, he ran for 107 yards against a good Tennessee defense. And what else stands out here is that you had some really good NFL players on that Tennessee team. Arkansas that year, I think the best player that did something in the NFL was Kenoy Kennedy, who actually had a monster game. He had something like 14 tackles in this win over Tennessee. But the Volunteers had Travis Henry and Jamal Lewis rushing the ball. They had Dante Stallworth and Cedric Wilson as their 2 top receivers. I know Tye Martin didn't really do anything in the NFL as a quarterback, but he was a pretty darn good college quarterback. And, talent-wise, they were definitely the better team on paper and had themselves a 10-point lead in the third quarter when – and I'd never heard this guy's name mentioned before, Ontrario Moss. And Tennessee's driving. In the end of the third quarter, they're inside the 20 after Lewis had run the ball down the right sideline to get them within the red zone. And Moss strip sacks Tye Martin, recovers the fumble, and Arkansas would later on that next ensuing drive score in a 53-yard strike from Sterner to Boo Williams. The defense held the rest of the way, but you could see the way that Houston Nutt liked to coach the ball and the play calls. I mean, it was Cedric Cobbs running through the right side of the offensive line, Cedric Cobbs running through the left side of the offensive line. Cobbs running right. Cobbs running right again. Play fake into the end zone. Touchdown, Anthony Lucas. And the place went bonkers. And you know what else, stands out for me? Reynolds Razorback Stadium does not look like the same place. And it just isn't. It isn't the same place. The south end zone was wide open. It was an open south end zone with an old-fashioned scoreboard.
Isn't that wild?
You could see Barnhill Arena from your vantage point. You forget sometimes when you're sitting inside the football stadium, Barnhill is right there across the parking lot from the Fred Smith Football Center, which, by the way, wasn't there either at that point. So past Barnhill, what would you see? You would see the Ozark Mountains, which just was kind of jarring to watch. Plus watching a Jefferson Pilot broadcast. I guess this would be one of those rare, really good games that JP Sports got, week after week. They didn't get Alabama, Auburn. They didn't get Tennessee, Georgia. Arkansas, Tennessee, I think would have been something, they would have been looking forward to broadcast. It was probably the best game they broadcast all year. And seeing, without all of the graphics that you're used to now, the stats that are coming, that are fired at you moment after moment, the first down line that you always go with on TV, no replays. It's just a jarring thing to watch from what we're used to now in college football. Plus, the promos that I see run, some service ESPN was running called ESPN Now, which I guess was kind of like their ESPN News. They were promoting having a bottom line and a rundown on the left side of the screen, just like they do now on ESPN News 24/7. And they also, Ty, I thought you would have got a kick out of this. But ESPN, of course, tied in with ABC. ABC was promoting a live broadcast of Space Jam for the next week. So
how about that?
I'm sure you'd have been glued to the television for that.
And for those who need help remembering, because you haven't had much fun in terms of football memories lately, here it is.
Looking pumps, goes down the middle. Touchdown! Arkansas! Oh my! Lucas goes up, makes the catch, and the Hawks take the lead in this ball game, 27-24.
So, Phil, that's Paul Eels, his "Oh My." That was something I grew up listening to for however many years before he passed away. That's such a revered phrase that stuck to him throughout his career. Do you have a specific phrase that you is your go-to during a baseball broadcast, or you feel like that's been a staple of your? Obviously this call this past season when Arkansas advanced past Ole Miss in the Super Regionals to the College World Series, that's your call. That's your most vivid. That's your most memorable call. But do you have a specific phrase that you feel is like your go-to in key situations or moments?
I guess it's key situations. Strikeouts is a he struck him out, and home runs sometimes get out of here. And when the Hogs win, it's this one.
I think it might be you got to get out of there.
But the thing is I don't necessarily, and I don't think Paul tried to tie himself to these calls. The listeners, the fans are the ones that make the decision as to what they tie you to whatever phrase. And these are simplistic phrases that Paul threw out there, and that's part of the genius of why Paul Eels was such an incredible play-by-play announcer, because his delivery was clear, crisp, simple, not overly worded. Touchdown Arkansas, oh my. These are 2-word phrases that live on forever, and a lot of the reason is because of the way he delivered it. You can hear, Paul Eels was a corners up on the mouth guy. He was always looked happy, and that's the way he sounded on the air too. And these phrases, I love hearing that call. Just kind of. And I say this all the time. I might be attached to Arkansas for these last 5 years. I might not have liked the Razorbacks for my first 9 or 10 years living in Arkansas. That didn't mean that I didn't listen to Paul Eels and Mike Nail doing play-by-play. I appreciate talent where talent is and people that are really good at their jobs. I always enjoyed listening to Paul Eels, and it didn't matter if I liked the Razorbacks then or not.
By the way, the recipient of Clint Sterner's pass, Anthony Lucas, was added to the 2019 UA Sports Hall of Honor class today. Kevin Trainer sent out that email, so just want to give credit where credit is due. My dad actually ran into Anthony. Obviously, he lives in Little Rock this past week, and he's like, I think Anthony just knows my face, but he's as nice a guy as anyone I've ever met. But I'm glad you enjoyed that moment, and particularly that second half, Phil, because also a little tidbit for you, for those who don't know this. the end of that ball game, exact same score as it was the year before.
Yeah.
Did you catch that by chance?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I did not notice that, but you are absolutely right. Tennessee had already lost a game earlier that season, so their national championship hopes might have already been dashed because they were defeated by Florida. But that second loss to the Hogs certainly did in their chance at an SEC championship.
So your assignment for me was more based off music, and there's a few different other Beatles songs that you wanted me to listen to. There's some Woodstock stuff that you wanted me to hear. And obviously my generation hasn't ever fully seen Woodstock. We've heard about it. We have the Mike Leach show.
It's like Woodstock, except everybody's got their clothes on.
Still one of the greatest post-game interviews I've ever heard when he's doing that on SportsCenter when he says that. And I can't remember who Washington State beat. It might have been USC, but the couple songs, before we get into Woodstock, the Beatles songs that you wanted me to listen to were Helter Skelter and Let It Be. And I was listening to my chair yesterday, and I listened to them a couple times. Phil, I genuinely, and maybe I'm hurting people's feelings, and maybe I'm ticking people off, I genuinely didn't like either of those songs. And I didn't listen to
they're
just
totally different songs, too.
Okay.
Completely different songs.
I don't know, man. And there's some Beatles stuff I like, and again, I guess I have to apologize for my taste in music sometimes, but I'm genuinely was not a fan of either of those songs I listened to yesterday.
That's too bad. I'm a fan of Helter Skelter because to me it sounds like the really where heavy metal started from. And it's not like I'm a metalhead, but the fact that the Beatles could do something so tender as Yesterday and backwards looking in a nostalgic way like Let It Be, but even come out with something as crazy sounding as Helter Skelter just shows the range that they were just able to achieve.
So, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't think I've ever sneezed on air before. Abbey Road, that was the other album that one of our listeners wanted me to tune into, and I'm a huge fan of, there you go, play, yeah, you can get it up. So, Come Together for me, I've heard that many a times before I came on and started doing this show with you, and then we've talked about it before. I love Come Together. That is one song that I really enjoy listening to, and I would say that's probably at the top of my list when it comes to Beatles songs, if not at the very top. But is there a specific song otherwise on that album?
That's a great one to go with. And the last song on Abbey Road, which I'm forgetting exactly what it's called, but I would go with that one too because that was sort of the last song that they came out with. I know Let It Be is known as their last album. To me, Abbey Road feels more final. So I'm glad you like this one. And hey, part of the reason of halftime homework is because we know that our tastes are going to be different in the things we like and the things we don't like.
So other songs you want to listen to are kind of based on Woodstock, which happened in 1969, and it's funny because I'm not really a big festival guy. I think the only festival I've been to, Phil, is the CMA, the Country Music Festival in Nashville, the summer before my freshman year of college. And that, as you know, is far different than what Woodstock was in 1969. There's ACL, which is Austin City Limits, which a bunch of my friends have been to. There's Lollapalooza, which is down in Chicago. That's a big festival that a couple friends of the program just went to. And then there's the one down at Hangout Fest down at Gulf Shores. Those are kind of the big millennial festivals that have been going on lately. But I feel like Woodstock is what inspired them all. That's like the festival that brought on all the other festivals. And some of the songs you wanted to me to listen to from Woodstock and kind of
the one that I was talking to you about was Woodstock 99. This was the second Woodstock 30 years after it happened.
And you said that was the one that got out of control with sexual ads and
it was also
publicized.
Overly sponsored.
Yeah.
It was corporate. It didn't have the same feel of peace, love, and bad LSD that I think Woodstock 1 had.
So Rage Against the Machine, was that 69 or 99?
That would have been 99.
Okay,
yeah.
so
I don't know if anybody would have known what to do with Rage Against the Machine in 1969. They would have fit into the times.
It's like when Marty McFly got up there and when he went back to the 80s and he starts like jamming out on the rock and they're just like, what is this? So Rage Against the Machine is a band you wanted me to listen to. Limp Bizkit, and I typed it in a couple times. It wouldn't pop up. I was like, what is going on? And then it spell checked it for me. It finally worked.
Right. It's a B-I-Z.
Yeah, which was kind of funny.
B-I-Z for your biscuit.
And then Grateful Dead were the three bands. You're like, listen to a few of these songs. Tell me what you think. So Testify, I've heard that before, Rage Against the Machine. Of the songs I listened to, Testify was my favorite Rage Against the Machine song. for Limp Bizkit, is Eminem in that band, or was he just in one of those music videos?
He must have just, I don't think he was in the band.
Okay, and I say Eminem, Marshall Mathers, the rapper, for those who don't know who that is. I liked Rollin' the Go to Here. That song, I feel so corny saying this, like reading these out. It's probably said a different way. That was my favorite Limp Bizkit song. As far as the Grateful Dead goes, it felt like it had some Jimmy Buffett vibes to me. And maybe it was only a couple songs I listened to, but
Buffett played with the Dead on a number of tours.
Okay,
it's not like he was part of the band, but I know he was on stage with them a few times.
That's why, because I'm listening to these songs. It's like Jimmy would be like perfect to be tagging along or do a duet with him or something. And the majority of songs I listened to him sounded like Jimmy Buffett, so I enjoyed the Grateful Dead. But is there a song or songs of those three bands that stand out to you as being your favorite?
No, I don't have. Rage Against the Machine, that's an attitude. I don't know if there's necessarily one. Testify, I think I'd go. That's one. Killing in the Name Of is one that comes to mind.
Listen to that, yeah.
Limp Bizkit, I don't have a favorite Limp Bizkit song. It was just kind of a joke that I wanted to assign it to you anyway because of Fred Durst and the red Yankees hat tilted backwards. The Grateful Dead, I mean, they were known for Touch of Grey. That's their biggest hit, but I mean, again, that's more of an like a mindset that you're in when you're listening to the Grateful Dead. And I didn't get into the Dead too much. I had friends in college that toured with them before Jerry Garcia died in '95, but and the Dead probably played more live shows than any band in the history of America.
Troy in Harrison, getting at us, our Cherokee Casino hotline, says that a great example of late 60s rock in blues mixtures, he should listen to Electric Mud by Muddy Waters. Do you know that song?
Muddy Waters, I know, is a great bluesman,
Okay.
Great blues guitarist. So if you're being assigned that by one of our listeners, listen to a couple of those songs and maybe you'll like what you hear. I should listen to it. I should listen to the same thing.
Electric Mud by Muddy Waters. I'll remember that.
All right, let's see if I've got an assignment for you here. Major League Baseball this morning put out an announcement that there's going to be a White Sox versus Yankees regular season game played next August in Dyersville, Iowa, right next to the literal Field of Dreams, where the movie was filmed. They're not going to play the game at the actual field, but they are going to construct, in fact, I think any minute now, beginning construction on about an 8,000-seat stadium that will host the Yankees and the White Sox in tiny little Dyersville, Iowa, or Dyersburg, Iowa, where I stopped on my way between Pittsburgh and Utah in the summer of '98. The only reason my friend and I stopped in Iowa, otherwise we would have just driven right through it, was to go see the Field of Dreams. And you got to be, it's like going to Cooperstown. You have to make the effort to get there. It's off the interstate by about an hour. It's near no major city. And it takes effort to get there. And it was pouring rain when we got there. There was no chance the rain was going to stop. What are you going to do at that point? We got out. We had a catch just because. I want to be there when they play that game. I imagine the tickets will be pretty pricey. But my assignment for you, though, Ty, so have you seen Field of Dreams, which used to be my favorite, not just baseball movie, but movie overall, because I'm sappy and I've got a dad thing going on and I love baseball. It's not my favorite baseball movie or movie anymore. It's been supplanted by Bull Durham. Maybe I just have a Kevin Costner thing. I don't know. But you've seen the movie, right?
I don't remember the ending, so I'll give you that little
all right.
crevice to slide into.
Your homework, and I don't know if there's video evidence of you doing this or not. Somehow we've got to find a way to do it, is to watch the entire movie and then make it to this part without crying.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
I'd like that.
You should see on the FaceTime right now, Ty's tearing up. You can't help it.
Asking me to do the impossible, Phil.
With the music building in the background and the look and Kevin Costner's face and the choking in his voice and the sunset of the background and the cornfields behind you. It's impossible. It is freaking impossible to watch all of Field of Dreams, make it to the dad want to have a catch, and not cry. So good luck with that, Ty. I don't think you can do it.
So we had Matt Jones in a couple weeks ago when you were on vacation, Phil, and we were kind of talking, and I asked him kind of his favorite games. He mentioned the Texas game in 2003, and then he, without me even asking, he flipped the switch. He's like, man, I shouldn't fumble that ball though in 2004. Like, he was ticked off about that. So have you seen the ambush in Austin game back in 2003?
I've heard of this game. Is this a famous horns down game at the end?
So people still think that picture is real. And I initially didn't know that picture wasn't real. I've just seen it so many times, I assumed it was real. But that was Photoshop.
Photoshop was still around
Correct.
in 2003.
Exactly.
It's been around a while, actually.
And it's been great. But I want you to watch either the second half or kind of the end of that game. But Arkansas thoroughly dominated that game. And for Arkansas fans, that was great because they also beat him in 2000 in the Cotton Bowl as well. So it was a pretty good time for Arkansas fans. I know the 2004 game didn't turn out like people wanted it to, but Matt had a stellar game, and it was just a fun. It's one thing to beat Texas. It's another thing to beat them in Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium and beat them as bad as they did. So watch that game for me. Tell me what you think.
All right. I feel like my assignments week after week are going to have to do with one great game in Razorback football history. I'm going to be watching 2 games a week, 2 Razorback games a week, the one on Saturday and another one probably on Wednesday the next week on YouTube.
And I think at some point, we'll see what point I want to get to this, but I think I need to also have you watch games that caused heartbreak, because to truly immerse yourself within this fan base, to truly get why I always tell you this team's going to choke. This team is going to find a way to lose, either a national championship, an SEC championship, in the 3 major sports. You have to get physically, emotionally, and spiritually involved with how they just blew these games. That's the only way I got to put it. That's the only way I know how to teach you the pain and suffering that my generation, my dad didn't care about Arkansas football. I guess
He's
Tommy's
a Baylor fan.
Yeah, Tommy's generation, and then trying to think of an older person that I know. An older person's generation, 20 years past Tommy's prime. The pain and suffering they felt, because it's not just one generation. It's generations over time of Hawk fans.
I appreciate your new purpose and direction in life here, Tye, to cause pain and suffering to your friend across.
It's not that. I want you to feel it, because I have to get you fully.
You want me to feel pain and suffering?
I got to get you emotionally invested, man.
All right. Well, I mean, it took you 11 months to find out the reason you want to do this show. And the reason I want to do this show, we're essentially here with these assignments. I'm getting you to cry watching Field of Dreams. You want me to feel pain and suffering by reliving awful moments in Razorback history.
Exactly.
Well done. Hey, by the way, looking for a new RV, go over to Breeden RV and Motorsports, because they have upfront and no hassle pricing. Not going to be a trouble when you go over to Breeden RV and Motorsports. Every single RV is heavily discounted the moment it hits their lots. That means you're guaranteed the best price around. Plus, Breeden RV is the only dealership that offers maintenance for life at no extra charge on your new travel trailer, fifth wheel, or motorhome. So come see Breeden RV today in Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma, or check out BreedenRV.com. Back after the break on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Tye Sports Radio. ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
What's up, everybody? This is John Neighbors of The Morning Rush coming to you live from Hardee's here in Fort Smith at 4123 Grand Avenue, where we're doing another lunch qualifier for the Thick Burger Eating Competition for the football trip of a lifetime. All you have to do is come over here to 4123 Grand Avenue at the Hardee's, eat a third-pound thick burger in 90 seconds or less, and you qualify for the football trip of a lifetime to watch the Chiefs and Chargers this upcoming football season, December 29th in Kansas City. You can also check out their Charborough double deals for only $2.49 and get your choice of the Hardee's Classic, the Bacon Cheddar Double, or the Double Cheese. You can also try the Garlic Bread Thick Burger, available for a limited time as well. We only have a few of these left, folks. We only have a couple of spots left. So if you want to do this, you're running out of time. You got to come out here to the Hardee's at 4123 Grand Avenue. Give it a shot. You may not have another opportunity, so come on by, try to eat a thick burger in 90 seconds or less, and you are qualified for the football trip of a lifetime.
The Tailgater Extravaganza kicks off this weekend at World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH.
Call WOW now or come by the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue, where Phoenix dead ends into Rogers, for our 6th annual Tailgater Extravaganza with the all-new Playmaker, saving you $150, the lowest price ever on the portable satellite system from DISH.
You've heard us call this the Tailgater. You've heard it called other names. This is the latest and the greatest with the Playmaker. Easy and simple to set up and use.
All right, very simple to use. It's smaller. It's called the Playmaker. It's smaller in price also. Save $150, $150 off retail, the lowest price ever when you activate new service with DISH. And right now, because you might be missing your local channels and you're concerned, $150 off the Playmaker and a $200 gift card.
877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Ask about the Playmaker and also sign up right now for new DISH service and get a $200 Visa gift card. 877-305-DISH for your local DISH dealer with all the local channels. World of Wireless.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while or you haven't had the best of experience with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney in Family Dentistry. They take care of it all: crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. They even offer oral consciousness sedation available for your comfort. That's Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today, 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
You've worked hard your whole life anticipating the day you could finally retire. If that day is near, there are 5 things you need to do. Spend wisely, understand your retirement plan distribution options, plan for your required minimum distributions, know your Social Security options, and consider phasing. Call Brad Lewis at United Financial Advisors to discuss these steps in detail at 242-7466 or through our website at ufadvisors.net.
Securities and advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates, member FINRA SIPC. United Financial Advisors is a marketing destination.
This Coors Light is the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? Coors Light, as cold as the Rockies, available down the street. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
This is the Morning Rush.
I just think September is such an interesting month because obviously late October, November are much more difficult based on the teams you're playing. And if you don't get out to this really a 4-0 start, it'll be interesting to see how people respond, even at 3-1.
Because you're automatically better than what you were last year.
What if you're 3-1 but you beat Ole Miss?
That would be kind of weird.
Anybody worried about Portland State?
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Attention, please!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, offering smart looks for back to school and serving your community daily. Supercuts, we're super in style. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Takes it on the hop at the 9. He's got a seam, then planted as he got out to the 28-yard line. Dallas Washington picked him up and crushed him.
Well, the Arkansas football schedule released along with the other 13 schools in the SEC yesterday for 2020. And one thing definitely stands out. No game at War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock.
Dun, 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 dun.
People are cheering all throughout the listening audience. There are some people who are booing the thought inside the listening audience as well. The folks in Little Rock, I know, are not happy about it. They will get the spring game, so that means really, you'll have 2 Razorback events at War Memorial Stadium within about a 6 or 7 month stretch. You get the Missouri game Black Friday this year, the spring game whenever it's scheduled next year, and then you're going to go a while without an event until Arkansas plays Missouri again in 2021.
2021, 2023, are those going to be the last games in War Memorial Stadium for the Arkansas Razorbacks? Tommy brought up a good point this morning. They're developing all the land around it. It's not going to be a golf course anymore.
Yeah, they have closed the golf course.
Where are you going to park, Phil?
They're going to try to turn it more into a more of a park. I don't know what sort of development there'll be, but the parking will change. The atmosphere will change. And look, I've told people in Little Rock this. You can't develop or not develop everything around the football stadium based upon an event that happens once every 2 years. You can't. That's not the way that you progress a city. So, Yeah, I mean, you definitely, it stands out not seeing the game there for certain. But Little Rock's going to have to find a way to move on and do what they need to make that area around the stadium more usable.
I know
obviously golf wasn't it because it was losing money for the city.
Yeah, great golf course. And I say great in terms of the memories I had out there, not in terms of the playing surface. And you could play shirtless. Like there were no rules. You know how there's no rules, no bar, like certain places you go in live? You wouldn't think a golf course would be one of those places.
Right.
Like there was no rules applied. If you think it was bad enough during game days and how everyone parked, I know they kept people off the greens, even though kids would play football and those and stuff. But, man, I'm telling you, that golf course, that had a different set of rules than traditional, whether it's country clubs or just traditional public golf courses. It was wild out there, man.
Let me just make a quick point off of you having me watch the Redeem game against Tennessee. And the thing that really stood out to me, aside from a lot more running the football then than you do now, it's just the difference in what the stadium looked like then and now. While War Memorial Stadium looks almost identical to what it looked like in 1998. The attendance for Arkansas, Tennessee was a sellout at like 58,000 fans. You get that same amount of people into War Memorial Stadium. Really, the stadiums didn't look that much different in 1998. They look astronomically different now. And so you start, somebody like me who attaches to Little Rock, still lives there, I can see the reasons why you don't play there as many times as you used to and probably won't be playing there anymore. Just the look of the stadium is one big reason. Hey, it's still lunchtime. Get over to Hardee's. Got the Charbroil Double Deal going for $2.49 each. You get either the double cheeseburger, the new bacon cheddar double, or backed by popular demand, the Hardee's Classic. Double the beef, triple the options. Hardee's, because it tastes better. Tye went to the Travs game the other day, and they got a Hardee's across the street. I snarfed down a Frisco Melt. In about 3 minutes on my drive back to the apartment, it was like spring training for tomorrow's Thick Burger Eating Challenge between me and you.
Yeah, getting ready. Tomorrow, Phil and I will be at the Phoenix location here in Fort Smith. We're going to go head-to-head on a Thick Burger Eating Challenge. Again, you can qualify tomorrow. This is one of the unique Fridays where you can come out and actually qualify again. Phil and I will be at the Phoenix location tomorrow. $1.25 happy hour sliders during our show times from noon to 2 at all Fort Smith locations and Sallisaw locations.
We're taking bets. Who wins? 877-377-6963 in the Cherokee Casino hotline. We'll have Bob Holt from the Democrat Gazette next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
When in doubt, expense it. You're listening to Halftime.
Slide girl by my side, girl.
ESPN 95.3 is live on location.
What's up, everybody? This is John Neighbors of The Morning Rush coming to you live from Hardee's here in Fort Smith at 4123 Grand Avenue, where we are doing another lunch qualifier for the Thick Burger Eating Competition for the football trip of a lifetime. Come on out to 4123 Grand Avenue at this Hardee's. Need a third-pound thick burger in 90 seconds or less, and you qualify for the football trip of a lifetime to watch the Chiefs and Chargers take on each other this year, December 29th, in Kansas City. You can also check out their Charbroil Double Deals for only $2.49. Get your choice of Hardee's Classic, the Bacon Double Cheddar, or the Double Cheese. You can also try the Garlic Bread Thick Burger for a limited time. I've been out here so far, folks, for just a little bit, but that's all right because we've had people already showing up. We've had 2 try it out and only 1 qualify. So you got to make sure you get out here if you want to go on a football trip of a lifetime. You're running out of time, and the last thing you want to do is be left out in the cold knowing that you could have eaten a thick burger in 90 seconds or less and you missed out. So come on by Hardee's, 4123 Grand Avenue, and give it a shot.
This is Mark Hurst. It's back to school time for our kids and teachers, and for a lot of our families, including mine, back to school means back to a routine. At Hurst Family Dental Care, we recommend a routine when it comes to your dental cleanings. For a lot of us, routine cleanings are included at no additional charge through our dental insurance, but often we get out of the routine and taking advantage of that benefit. Call our office today at 474-1972 to set up your routine cleaning. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
Football season is here at Crabtree RV in Alma. We make tailgating with your favorite team very affordable, with discounts up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels and $10,000 off new travel trailers. Check out deals like the new Catalina with patio for as low as $249 a month. Browse the area's largest indoor showroom and explore the new 2020 styles from Grand Design and Coachman Freedom Express. That's only at Crabtree RV in Alma. where your family's dreams come true.
3, 2, 1.
Introducing the limited edition Budweiser Discovery Reserve, brewed to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. An American red lager with a light hoppy aroma, followed by a hint of toffee and a crisp finish. Inspired by our archival recipe from the time of the Apollo missions. Enjoy responsibly. 2019 Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Discovery Reserve American Red Lager, Ale in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
They don't build cars like they used to, and they don't repair them like they used to either. Today's vehicles contain advanced lightweight materials and safety features like crumple zones and airbags that help protect your family. Repairing them properly after a collision requires up-to-date training. Evans Body Shop has it. We're among only 10% of shops to meet the industry's highest training standards as a gold-class business. When you pick a collision repair shop, make the smart choice for your family's safety. Choose gold-class trained repair professionals.
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Halftime is brought to you by 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your evening on the Avenue. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
And he's on in place of the injured Ryan Mallett, and he has been brilliant. 12 of 13. Dude, that one's caught. Touchdown. Whoa, what a rope.
Oh, my goodness.
Joe Adams.
There's not a backup in the country that can throw a ball like that.
Bob Holt, good to join us. I think I just put a Y in his name that's not really there. He was at football practice up there in the hill, as he has been ever since practice started, and usually joins us an hour earlier, and we appreciate him pushing it back a little bit. Bob, how you doing today? How was practice?
Well, actually, I missed practice because I had an eye doctor's appointment, but I did make it for the post-game interviews. But in the interest of transparency, I actually missed practice this morning.
Well, all right. I hope everything went well at the doctor's office. But you were there for the post-practice comments. Was this another day where the defense got that championship belt? The defense most definitely has outperformed the offense in the first few practices.
Yeah, it seemed like it happened in the spring a lot. They got the belt, and they've been getting a lot of turnovers. And we found out today, actually, Scooter Harris was in there, but I didn't talk to him. But we talked during Jerry. A lot of times we'll ask the guys whatever in practice because we don't get to see them the first 20 minutes or so. And they said Scooter had another interception today. So that makes at least 3 in 3 days. So he's obviously, I think everybody knows he's been a tackling machine, and but he's not a guy that's gotten a lot of interceptions. I'd have to look up his career totals. Off the top of my head, I can't remember him getting an interception. He probably has, but I don't have the stats in front of me. But yeah, so it sounds like he's really being a ball hawk, and of course, Jalen Cavallon, the freshman safety, and probably plays some nickelback or could play some nickelback for him. He's had a couple of pick sixes, not just picked them off. People might have seen the video of John Chavis, defense coordinator, not exactly stride for stride with Cavallon, but moving pretty well for a guy that I guess he's in his 60s now. So he was a good defensive lineman at Tennessee. So it sounds like the defense has been forced and getting a lot of turnovers.
Do you think this is something that should concern people? Because as we look at what the offense looks like on paper compared to defense, you would think once the games get going, I think the offense will be a step ahead of the defense. But perhaps, learning the system early in fall practice might lead to the defense seeming they're a step ahead. Is there a reason to be concerned about the Arkansas offense at all over these first few practices?
Well, it's hard to say when we don't get to see them, but and maybe, we're not hearing about all the big plays the offense might be making, but it does seem like a defense, like I say, going back to spring, has gotten a lot of turnovers. I actually asked Jonathan Marshall, the defensive tackle, about that, about what does he think about the defense getting all these turnovers and should people be concerned about the offense? And he said that, the defense was being more aggressive. I thought last year they were a little timid at times, learned now they know the scheme better. So they're being more aggressive. So I guess it depends on if you're a half glass full or glass half empty kind of guy. You feel like, well, the defense is doing good, and that means they're going to force more turnovers, make more plays. Or, the offense is struggling. I will say, I think generally speaking, early in practice, whether it's spring or fall or whatever, the defense usually is ahead of the offense. The offense maybe takes a little more precision. Not that the defense, obviously, you're playing technique and scheme and everything too, but I think generally speaking, the defense is ahead of the offense, and defense returns some really great playmakers. It's Scooter Harris, the linebacker, and close the game inside. And they're a little bit older at some of those key spots. So, without seeing, and we're not going to see the scrimmage this Saturday's closed also. So without seeing practice, it's kind of hard to say, but it does sound like the defense is getting an awful lot of turnovers.
Talking with Bob Holt on the Cherokee Casino hotline. A lot of freshmen came in this offseason. You got 52 on the roster, true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and then the freshman, a walk-on freshman as well. Bob, which position group do you think utilizes the most freshmen this upcoming season?
Oh, I think it's probably going to be the defensive line, defensive end in particular. I was talking to Steve Call, the defensive ends coach, about that the other day when we were talking to the coaches at the golf deal. Not that I played, but we talked to them. And really, the defensive end's an interesting dynamic because you got three seniors, and then you don't really have any guys between the freshmen. And so Mateo Soley and Zach Williams and Eric Gregory, three true freshmen. As Steve Cole said, thank the Lord, I think was how he put it. Those guys came in January, all enrolled early, all went through winter workout, spring practice. They were here all summer. And so those guys all got a lot of good work, and they're getting good work in camp. And like I say, Tony Johnson Marshall today, he was saying that Soley's been getting some first-team reps, which they really have to work those freshmen into some first-team reps because they're going to have to presumably go in and spell the seniors in games. I mean, like Steve, there's no doubt those guys are going to play, and they're probably going to play a fair amount. They're not going to play a few snaps and try to get them in 3 or 4 games so they can redshirt. Those guys are probably going to have to play significant snaps every game, especially early in the season when it's so hot. So I think without a doubt, at defensive end, you're going to have 3 true freshmen playing at defensive end, I think, quite a bit.
So one position group that people are pretty confident in is the running backs. You got a veteran in Devwall Whaley. You got a guy that has the potential for a breakout year in Rakeem Boyd, T.J. Hammonds, Chase Hayden. They both showed flashes. Any chance that Amonte Spivey sees the field this year, or do you feel like he's just going to redshirt?
Well, he could see the field. I mean, running back, like the coaches, it's a cliche, but I guess it's true that you never have enough running backs, especially in a physical league like the SEC. And you just have to look at last year. I mean, Devwall got hurt and had to miss some games, and Boyd got hurt, and Hayden got hurt. And so ideally, he would redshirt this year. That might mean he gets a few snaps in 4 games because, with the rule that they implemented last year. But, yeah, that on paper, that's their strongest position because, Boyd had a real strong year last year. You got to remember he came in just when camp was starting, kind of had to play his way into shape, learn the system. So he ought to be ready to go from the get-go, and I think Whaley's in for a good senior season if he can stay healthy. Same thing with Hayden. And T.J. Hammonds, I guess he took his time out in the corner, whatever you want to call it, in the spring when he had some academic issues, and the coaches say he's kind of, got maybe a better sense of urgency and has figured some things out where he was obviously having some issues off the field. By that I mean academics. I don't mean getting in trouble or anything. And he's matured, and he obviously could be a big playmaker for him, maybe as a slot receiver or a guy catching swing passes or screens, or also carrying the ball. So, yeah, that looks like a pretty good position. So I'd be surprised if a true freshman could make much of an impact there. If it doesn't, mean there's probably been a whole bunch of injuries, which obviously would not be a good thing for Arkansas.
Bob Holt joining us on the Cherokee Casino Hotline, longtime sports writer at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Bob, I'm sure you saw about Bobby Petrino returning to the natural state in about a month at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. With your questioning ability, I mean, you are king of the follow-up. You get the first question. If you could ask, and I know you won't be there because it'll be one of the Little Rock sports writers that'll be covering it. If you could ask one question to Bobby Petrino now, what would it be?
That's a good question. So there are a lot of different ones floating around in my head. I guess it would be, if you hadn't screwed up, how do you think things would have turned out for you at Arkansas? Would you have had? Do you believe you would have had long-term success here? I guess that'd be the question I would wonder about most. Although that'd be one of several I'd like to ask him. That should be very interesting. Touchdown Club meeting.
Absolutely, and I mean, here's the other thing too, and I've thought it's a great get for David Basil and the Touchdown Club, as long as there's groundwork laid, that there's an expectation of what he will or won't talk about. With your time covering Bobby Petrino, I mean, you know how difficult he could be. Do you actually see him revisiting not how things ended, but some of the things about his personality and abrasiveness and the state of the program after he left? Do you see him getting into any truths about that?
Well, I don't know exactly what they're paying him, but I'm sure they're paying him a pretty substantial fee. So to me, if you're going to come back, and that'll be interesting because Bobby, I would say public speaking is not Bobby's strong suit. I never thought he felt very comfortable. I remember at those, luncheon deals or whatever, he got Chuck Barrett there as kind of his life preserver, so to speak. And Chuck always thought did a good job of kind of doing a Q&A with Bobby. But Bobby, to me, always looked very uncomfortable, very stiff. His arms almost looked like they were stapled to his side or something. That's really not, I mean, Bobby's most comfortable when he's diagramming. But to me, the thing he did the best when he was, of course, he wasn't in front of a live audience, but on his TV show, when he would diagram plays, he was great at that. And you could really get some insight. And I think that's where that's his element. So maybe he should just come in there and diagram a bunch of plays. But yeah, I think if the Touchdown Club's going to pay him what I would guess is a pretty good fee, and he's going to come all the way in here, and people aren't going to show up, or they're not showing up with the expectation that he's going to say, well, I'm not talking about when I was at Arkansas or this or that. I mean, I think if I were Bobby, of course I'm not, I would try to address some of those things, and I assume he'll make some kind of talk for 15 or 20 minutes, whatever. I'd try to address some of those things, kind of, do it on your own terms, and then, they should have a Q&A session, and I hope he would be forthcoming and, maybe tell him, hey, I made some mistakes there, and I'm sorry about what happened, and setting the program back, and this and that. I'd be curious. Bobby's still a relatively young guy. I mean, I think he's in his mid-50s or something, so I'd be curious if he thinks he is going to coach again. He's also getting $14 million from Louisville, so it's not like he has to coach. But, that's going to be very interesting. I would have thought there would be some kind of understanding, from David Basil's side of, you're going to come in here and you can't just be standoffish and say, I'm not going to talk about that and this and that, because otherwise that's not going to be a good appearance. And, I would think Bobby wants to come in here and maybe humanize himself a little bit, try to rehabilitate his image in Arkansas a little bit.
Bob, great stuff. Really appreciate it, as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, you guys take care.
Absolutely. If you could transport one person to one spot at any time, it's Bob Holt to the Touchdown Club in Little Rock the day Petrino's talking. Also, if you're looking for a new house or if you're trying to sell your home, get a hold of Nick and Ellie Glidewell Real Estate Agents. The real estate market's still hot, and if it's time to sell your home, they'll get you top dollar. They're aggressive the way they market real estate. Professional photos, video, a fleet of different drones, plus a 3D virtual home tour, and they've been helping people buy and sell homes for over 10 years. They advertise through social media, TV, radio, newspaper, much more. Find Nick and Ellie Glidewell on Facebook or Instagram or at nickandellie.com. Cherry on the top of halftime next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.